Hey, starting over. Part two. Part deux. Sorry for the inconvenience, but I wasn't seeing any of your questions, so that's not cool. It's no fun if it's not interactive. Hello, says Larry. Hey, Larry. What's up? Well, we got two people here. We had 310 people on the other one. Let's see if everybody comes on back over. uh, let's see here. Pete Thorn, make sure you have chat set as live and not top. I don't know how to do that. Honestly, I have no idea how to do that, Ben. But it's working now. So it's just when I got knocked offline there, and then it reconnected. All of a sudden, that I wasn't seeing the scrolling anymore. So the internet. What do you think of the UA Audio Luna? Says Guitar 77. Looks cool. I'm a big UA fan, so I'll definitely be interested in checking it out. I've got to see what it does. I'm a Logic devotee. I know how to. The thing is with this stuff is that it's like trying to get people to learn, like the learning curve, and trying to get a whole new thing going. I mean, I'm happy to check it out and stuff, but like it's also like, well, you got to get work done. It's just the time you got to invest to learn a whole new platform. I don't know. Maybe it'll be really great and really easy, and it'll get I'll switch. But like people are Pro Tools users for years and years and years for a reason. They learned how to use it, or Logic users for years and years and years. And you're like, I do not want to learn another thing like that, like and have to relearn all my key commands and where things are and how to get around. It's like it's one thing to get a new car or something, but it's another thing like when it's your workflow and you're like having to relearn how to. It's no different than like you've been playing a Strat for years, but here's this 335. Isn't it look cool? And you're like, yeah, it looks beautiful. It's awesome. But do I want to like reset my whole, you know what I mean? When you're used to something, or you just learn the axe effects, then somebody's like, but you should get a Kemper. It'll be great. And you're like, yeah, but I got gigs on the weekend. How am I going to set all that? Anyway. Should you expect more EMI, electromagnetic interference? Or is that like EMI, like the Sex Pistols? No. Electromagnetic interference from an amp modeler versus a tube amp. No. Electromagnetic interference comes through your guitar pickups, generally speaking, and sometimes cables and things, but it's not going to affect, I don't think an axe affects any different than an amp. Generally speaking, I think it'd be the same. So, somebody's up there in the top chat. It's Gray the Cat. He says, Pete, is there a guitar you picked up that surprised you to the point where you tried to buy it from the owner? Great question. Thanks for doing that. Top chat. There was in the SL68 video, you can see me playing an SG Special. It's a 61 or 62. That guitar was awesome, man, and it belongs to the guy that owns Scumbag Speakers. And I wanted that guitar, and he, of course, loved it. But he lent it to me. Like, why did you lend me this thing? It's a bitchin' SG Special, and I loved it, loved it, loved it. And someday I will have one because I really like those guitars, and I'm a Townsend fan and stuff. So, yeah. Mark Series is good at musical afternoon to all. Excellent. If Luna doesn't support MIDI or support control surface, it's a non-starter, says McCoffee56. Yeah, I hear they're not going to have control surface support for it when it's first released. Pete, where on your board would you place an EQ pedal? I guess it depends on what I was trying to accomplish. Like, I don't have one. I mean, I can do EQ with like the H9, I guess, or if I really wanted to. Or there's a simple EQ on my Unit 76 thingamajig from a company from Croatia. What's the company? Can't remember, but anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. So it's up close to the front. Depends what you're doing. Yeah, some people like David Gilmour put an EQ in every loop where they use a fuzz because he likes to EQ the sound, which makes total sense. Like you turn on the sound of a fuzz, and then you can, like I kind of wish I'm using a fuzz face right now. And to be honest, I kind of wish I had an EQ after it to kind of EQ out some bass and maybe bring out a little more clarity. I'm playing some Hendrix, and it's great. It's a mini fuzz face from Dunlop, and it does the thing where it'll clean up, and it's pretty cool and stuff. But it's a little bit murky sounding on 10 for my tastes, and I wish I could tighten it up a little bit and make it a little clearer and a little bit more aggressive in the top end. Because it's a little woolly. You kind of have to use the bridge pickup, I'm finding, with it, or it's just too. And I have a humbucker in the bridge, but I use it in parallel with the fuzz face because it's a little closer to a single coil. And it sounds pretty good. Yeah. Humbucker size P90s. Anyone heard of the bobbin size problem? Bucker bobbin can't hold enough wire of the same gauge as P90. But doesn't it look like a P90 underneath the cover? Like a Gibson P94 or whatever those things are called? I don't get it. Bucker bobbin can't hold enough wire of the same gauge as P90. I don't know about that. I haven't heard of that personally. We got 214 people back online. 217. We're building it back up. Let your friends know. Let's hang out and talk guitar. Just picked up a Japan Boss CE2, says LP Mojo GL. Compares favorably with my EXH small clone and Arian C. Oh, the chorus pedals. We were talking about choruses earlier. Yeah, CE2. A small clone's a really cool pedal. I think that's the pedal and it smells like Teen Spirit, right? Down, 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 down. I think that's a small clone. They always sound. EH effects always sound a little more psychedelic to me, a little washier and a little less defined, and the Boss ones are a little more defined, Or so is our blah, 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 blah. So is MXR. Like when you think about an MXR phaser compared to a small stone, small stones are a little more diffuse and kind of washy sounding to me, and in kind of a cool psychedelic way. And then if you want a more defined sweep, it's like the MXR or whatever. Same thing with the flanger, actually. Yeah, come to think of it, like an electric mistress compared to like an MXR flanger. That defined kind of sweep of an MXR flanger as opposed to the mistress, almost more chorusy or something like sometimes. James says, look forward to seeing you guys play on Tuesday. Do you tend to hang around after the shows? It'd be great to come say hi. We do a little meet and greet in the lobby generally. So come see us. Anybody can come say hi. So it's like there's usually a table set up in the foyer or the lobby or whatever, and we'll go out there and have a beverage and meet everybody. So please come and say hello. It's been fun to meet a few people from the live stream and from this world, from YouTube land. Yeah. Somebody said they like the sound of 335s. I do too. Love it. One of my most unique sounding guitars that has a real characteristic, kind of thing to it. I don't know. It's just an air to the sound that's really nice. Gary says, how's the new Candy Apple Sir performing on tour? Is it your main guitar? I'm using it in the Yaren a lot. And then I play a Telly from Mac Mullen one song. That's it for my electrics, actually, really. I've got my signature red guitar out here, too, but I'm just using the, for a few different reasons. I got the new signature, sure, mainly because it's fun to play a different guitar, but I've got the signature classic, and so it's basically I'm switching between Strat and Les Paul, kind of, on this gig. And they just seem like the appropriate guitars to play. It's funny, because James is actually using a blue, turquoise blue, Pete Thorn signature guitar. So I lent him mine. And he's playing it on a lot of songs, so it's still on stage for a lot. And it's not like I love my signature. I could easily switch it. I could actually play the whole night on that guitar. But it's partially the look. I'm playing Freebird on the Les Paul and stuff. And yes, we do Freebird, the whole thing. Come see it. It's fun, actually. It's more fun than I've never played that song. I never learned that song. It's like. And when I first sat down to learn, I'm like, how the hell am I ever going to remember all these licks? And then I did it, and now I know it. And I play it every night. So come see me if you want to get your ears ripped out by bending, repetitive guitar. It's amazing. No, it's actually really fun. So much fun to play, actually. The beginning's a little sleepy, and then I just kind of zone out until the solo rolls around. I'm like, all right, it's go time. I'm in a mood, I guess. Sorry. Uh, Such a nerd. What a nerd. What cider is good in California? Have a cider on me, says SD Design. Thanks, man. Uh, California. Golden State, pretty good, I think. There's also Golden Road Brewery, not to be confused with Golden State. Uh, but I like those. They're pretty dry. The Mighty, I think. Oh, what's that other one? Golden State. Is it Mighty Dry? I think is what they call their cider. I like that one. It's pretty solid. Pretty damn good. Over here, I like Asphalt. And I kind of like Magners and Strongbow and all that. But Asphalt is pretty solid. Uh, Asphalt. Phil X went to Gibson. Should have gotten him to come to Sir or Friedman. He's more a Gibson guy. And I saw that the guitar that Leo built for him, Leo Scala, I mean, that's kind of his thing. It looks cool, with the big X on it and all the accoutrements and all that. Seems to make sense. I mean, he's been playing a guitar that looks like an SG for eons, right? He should have a signature SG, I guess. It's kind of unfortunate in a way because he's part of the whole Framus family, and feels a little bit like an end of an era or something. I don't know, not an era, but it was like it was fun to go to GitCon, the Framus Warwick sponsored YouTube thing, and Phil would be there, and we had a lot of fun there. We made those videos there, and the jams were fun and stuff. And I guess that's not going to happen anymore because he's not with Warwick. So this is little things like, oh, I guess we'll never go to that funny little town in Germany and jam with Phil in that Warwick bar again. Maybe they'll do it again and I'll be there, but he won't be there, I guess. I don't know. Life, it's never permanent. But anyways, let's see here. Just gotta close a reminder. Somebody's up in the top chat. What's going on there? Oh, I missed it. Sorry. I'm gonna go down and find you now. And I'm way behind, so I'll just page down to the bottom here. What was the? I'll find you. Oh, that was the cider comment. Okay, got it. I hit that. What signature gear do you think you would have if you had never stumbled into Sir? Interesting question. I don't know. I was a Gibson guy for a long, long time. But I was becoming kind of dissatisfied with the company at that time. That was over 10 years ago. I think Fender does nice stuff, and I know some of the people there now, and who knows, maybe I just would have done that. But the thing about the Sir thing is that it's such a nice vibe because I'm such good friends with John. I mean, we talk almost every day, and more than the guitar company almost is the friendship and the kind of like I don't know. I don't have like a ton of close friends, and he's a good friend of mine. So it's weird to imagine that I wouldn't know him as a pal. That would be like, oh, it's almost kind of sad. It's like to think, well, what guitar would I be playing? And be like, well, none of that would have happened, and we wouldn't, It's been a cool, part of my world for like a long time now, since 2006 or 7. So I really don't know. Good question. What's happening? Somebody say there was I don't want to actually just report, but somebody's saying there's some news about a helicopter crash. Did that really happen? Come on, really? Somebody fill us in if that's actually true. That's crazy if so. Anyways, it's strange. I don't even know what to say, but Steve LeBlanc says he misses his 77 Les Paul Custom. It was sturdy. Anything he plugged into it rocked. Occasionally those Norland era guitars were just killer, A friend of mine had one from around then, 76, 77, 78, something like that, with the maple neck and the maple board, but it was black, one of those real oddball ones, and it was a really good guitar. Matt's up in the top chat, and he says, looking to get Thornbuckers for my Les Paul, although it has all the Gibson PCB business. You can always take that stuff out, get new pots put in. Any recommendations on a good wiring setup? Well, okay, so Emerson, I don't know them. I used to use those RS Electronics kits, and if they're still around, they were great. They came pre-wired, and so I would recommend them. They were really nice. But looks like there's been a helicopter crash. And what's the news? I don't know. Kobe Bryant died. That's crazy. Wow. Jeez. Kind of don't even know what to say. It was a damper on the whole day, doesn't it? It's like, geez. Damn helicopters, man. Like, anyways, well, I'll try and get back on about guitars. It's crazy, man. Private helicopter crash. God. Anyways, terrible. Yeah. Okay. Sir is a great company to be associated with, says On the Road. I agree. Just terrific. Hung with John Sir a bit at NAMM, such a great guy, says Lauren. Yeah, all that you say he is. He really is a terrific guy. He's a good pal and he's just a good person too. So, Brendan says, any opinions on Yamaha guitars? I have a Pacifica 612V blue flamed maple top. It's incredible to play. I think Yamaha makes some nice guitars. I played a bunch of the Revstar guitars recently, and I thought, is that what they're called? Revstar? They're kind of like the dual humbucker. Nice guitars, really great fretwork, well-made guitars, I thought. What do you think of the old Hardwire RV7 stereo reverb? Digitech, right? Good stuff. The Hardwire stuff was nice. Delays, and I think Lukather uses them. He still uses them maybe on his board. Good stuff. I hear former PV engineer James Brown is joining the EVH team. I heard that too. He's a smart guy and seems like a really good guy too. And of course, it was the guy behind the Classic 50 as well as the original 5150 amplifier. And yeah. Finally got my Helix Stomp all dialed in, says Chuck. Do you have any presets? I've only got a couple really that I've made for. I'm using it now as my backup out here. So I've got two presets. One that's like kind of like, think JCM 800 mid gain, and then a lead one. And so if all goes to hell, I can plug into that, and I'll be right into the PA with a couple sounds and a tuner. And the lead one has a little delay on it. That's it. So in theory, I could get through a gig if I had to. Yeah, Pete, a guy in the gear page mentioned a new reverb or updated Big Sky. Any news on that? I don't know anything about that. Sorry. What neck shape do you prefer on a Gibson? Well, I really like the proper 59 shape. For me, like not fat, but not super slim either, and with a little bit of it's got almost like not a V, but almost. I really like actually my 54 Les Paul had a bit of V to it. I had a 54 Gold Top, and it was a stellar neck. Very, very playable. What a great guitar, and I hate that I sold it, and it's so stupid. But anyways, really, really comfortable guitar. And it just was, like a lot of the, and I've played a few of the Gibson reissues and stuff that are pretty close, actually. Generally speaking, though, they've got more of a C feel or something, or a bit more shoulder, or a D feel or something. I don't know what you call it, but, like the more shoulder. And when they have a little, and it's really my Yaron nails it, a little less shoulder, and it's getting almost towards, it's almost got a V, but not quite. That's the neck that I really like. And I don't mind the 60 one too, like the one that's like a thinner, kind of bursty neck. Yeah. Ben says, Ben's helping out because somebody was asking a question, and Ben said that I would need more info to answer it properly. Yeah. Jimmy James says, excuse my ignorance, but do you have a signature guitar? Yes, I have a signature Sir guitar. It's true. Hi from Ireland, says Brandon. Stonewall is a great cider we have over here. The red dry is incredible. I'd love to try it. I wish we were coming to Ireland, over to, you know, play in Dublin or something. That'd be great. But cider a day keeps the doctor away. Well, I've certainly had that, I would say. That's Fran. Um, no trips to the doctor yet, so. Uh, let's see. Pete, which pickup can get me the highest output with classic rock tone? Um, I mean, like, it's a hard thing to answer because, I mean, obviously in the early days of classic rock, there wasn't any high output pickups, but then quickly, into the mid to late 70s, you had super distortions showing up, and there was Boston and bands like that. And I think they were playing, I don't know about Boston actually, but certainly Ace Frehley, and people started using super distortions in their guitars. They were hot ceramic magnet pickups. They were like the opposite of a PAF. So, a lot of probably great late 70s classic rock was done with pretty hot pickups. The Gibson Dirty Fingers showed up and all that. So it depends, man. I mean, it's like, it depends if you want to sound like, you know, it's like Eddie Van Halen, I think, like I say, like on the first record, I'm pretty sure it was those hot, super distortion type pickups. And then by Van Halen 2, I think it was PAFE. So, what do you want to do? They're so polar opposite. Uh, Shizzy says, I want to thank you for turning me on to Laurie Basilio. You bet, man. She's awesome. Pretty great. Rick says he loves the Mobius and the H9, but a little too expensive, so he got a Boss MD500. Hope it would be great because I couldn't try it out. Uh, you know, Boss makes good stuff, man. Solid. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Moving down to the bottom of the chat. Let's go down there and see what's happening, just in case I'm missing out on anything here. Rhett Scholl's in the house, I think. Hi, Rhett. What's going on? He's made a string gauge video, I believe, after Rick did, and he's evidently switching his strings as well. Somebody's asking him if he tried 9.5s. I really love the 9.5s personally. I think they're a great way to go. But let's see here. Kurt LeBlanc says he's going to try lighter string gauges. Somebody's saying, dude, a legend just died and you're still talking. Can we have 2 minutes of silence? I know, but I feel like I know I have mixed feelings about that too. It was everything I could do to actually kind of like get my head back in the game. But I don't know. What are you supposed to do when you're in a situation like that? Do we say, I don't know what to say, to be honest. So how do you respond? I'm not really sure. So, that's your take on it. That's Mr. Meta. But everybody else here is talking, and Rhett's here, and we're all talking about guitar and stuff. So I don't know what to say, to be honest. Just say rest in peace and carry on. I agree. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's happened, and what do you say, And this happens, and then of course the chat goes offline for a second. But anyways, yeah, Lost Smoke said the fellow that wants a moment of silence can take a moment of silence by tuning out for a moment. It's okay, Pete. Life problems aren't your fault. It's a strange. Aaron says people die every day. Should we all just stop talking completely? I mean, it's a terrible thing, what happened to him. But it's also a thing where it puts you in this position where you're doing these things where people expect you to. How dare you say that, or how dare you do this, or whatever. Or maybe you should have done something more like this. And it's like everybody does things differently. I don't know. It's a guitar show, and I don't know what to do. To be honest, I'm far from perfect, so it's a strange thing. But I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's a strange thing when you do these things and you're in front of people and stuff, and then you've got to respond like that. Like, okay, you would do it a certain way, everybody would do a different thing. You know, what's the right thing to do? I don't have any idea. I'm no more, you know, I'm not a genius. So, and it threw me for a minute. I'll say that for sure. But I decided I would just carry on. So sorry, bro. But uh, you know, anyways, uh, what are my thoughts about the new neural DSP unit? Uh, oh yeah, the modeling thing. Haven't had a chance to check it out, obviously. I don't think it's even shipping, right? Like, or like the photo they shared of it was just like a almost like a computer drawn thing. Um, yeah, so who knows? You know, it's like it's I don't want to say vaporware, but it doesn't exist yet. So, anyways, uh, let's see here. Looking forward to Friday night in Birmingham, says Strat fan. Are you only using your mini ego compressor for cleans? Um, I'm actually using it in front of the Bogner Blue, and I forgot this the other day that actually when I made the presets it sounded good, so I kept it. But when I play the Who songs, I'm using it, so you'll hear it, and it sounds awesome combined with the blue for a kind of a semi broken up thing. So it's pretty cool. Um, you know, love it. So keep talking guitar. This is not a basketball channel, says Aaron. I agree. I still feel a bit, you know, it's like, I don't know. Anyways, how are you feeling? Says SD Design. You said you might be feeling ill last week. Doing pretty good, actually. I got a pretty crappy cough this week, but it's better as of today. It's like, you know, I'm just like 80% better. So I think by tomorrow I'll be 100%. Thanks for asking, though. Appreciate it. Got a good night's sleep last night. I'll get one again tonight. So today was a day off. We had the beginning of this tour was 4 shows on, then we had a day off, and then we had 3 shows on, and then we had a day off, and then we had 2 shows and a day off. And I think now we go back into doing 4 in a row. I think maybe, but it's been a little more, you know, totally manageable pace the last week or so. The beginning was like tough. It was like not tough, but you know, it was like I was ready for a day off when it rolled around. Do I like vintage 30s? Says Braxall. Uh, yes, I like them sometimes. I have them in the PT15 cab. It sounds great blended with a 25. So I like them in the bottom of a cabinet if you got a 25 in the top. A cab of all vintage 30s, I don't know. It's just, and with some amps, they could be just the thing. Like I think they really work good with a dual rectifier, for example, or an amp like that that maybe needs them. Just because it sounds a certain way. But you know, so it's very amp dependent. That's the other thing. I will say with just the PT15 and I listened to it in a 112 when we were auditioning speakers, and I was underwhelmed. And then they had put a Creamback H in another 112, and I heard that, and I was like, oh, that's miles better. And everybody agreed in the room. They were like, God, it's so much smoother sounding and more less abrasive, and sounds. I just didn't like the tone of the cabinet. That I played it and I was like, it's okay, I guess. I don't know. I guess that'll do. And then I tried the Creamback and I was like, oh, that sounds great. You know, it was the difference between, well, that works and that sounds great. So, uh, anyways, yeah. Okay, back to the bottom of the chat here. Uh, yeah. What are you guys talking about in the bottom? Pete, come to Sweden. I would love to. Love it. Great country. Rabia demoed the Neural DSP. I think did he? I don't know. I thought they only shared a photo of the uh, pre-order for the Neural DSP hardware is available. I was kind of surprised by it. Somebody said, yeah, I don't know anything about it. They never contacted me. Rabia gets all the scoop these days. But anyway, uh, let's see. Yeah. What else we got here? Let's see. Pete, what did you think about the Bogner Burnley? Only suitable for fenders with bright caps or can work with Marshall. Dude, I don't remember actually. I seem to remember liking the pedal, but I did a review of it. It's been a long time since I played through it. I do like the sound of those pedals with those Neve transformers in them that Bogner was doing for a while, though. And the Lyndhurst compressor I really liked. The Burnley I seem to remember liking. It's funny because I'm on this UK tour now, and I'm going to all these like every little place in the UK, and I don't know if we're going to Burnley or not or somewhere close. But somebody said, "Who named these pedals?" One time, like they said they've certainly never been to these towns. They weren't like they were kind of bagging on the towns. Like, why did they name them after? No, I don't know. But Burnley, maybe it's a great place. I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was funny that they sort of picked random, small British city names for the pedals. It seemed to this person that didn't necessarily make any sense. Uh, let's see here. Um, let's see. EVH is 64 today. I think he's 65. Is he not? I think he might be 65 today. Somebody said he was 64, but I thought he was 65. I hope I'm not wrong about that. But uh, yeah, yeah. Can I envision a classic rock show tour of the States? I know they want to do that. That's from Matthew, the group I've been over here performing with. Yeah, they do want to take it over there. I think they did a one run, like just kind of a test run a few years ago where they did like 11 dates or something. Um, Totally makes sense. You'd have to switch up the set a little bit because there's a few songs that we do over here that maybe wouldn't be uh, uh, that as big over there. Songs like there's a Rainbow song, Since You've Been Gone, it's big hit over here, I guess. Everybody sings it when we play it. It's like to me a little bit more of like be a little obscure if you played it in the States. Some people would know it, others wouldn't. How am I enjoying the English culture? Oh, I have a good time over here. This is where my family's from, honestly. So it's like, I mean, not going back, my granddad was in the RAF and grew up here and emigrated to Canada in the 30s and stuff like that. And both sides of the family, English and Scottish. So I always felt at home here. And this is one of the first places I visited as a foreign country when I was a kid, probably when I was, I don't know, like really young, 13 or something. I came over here, spent a little bit of time here. I always liked it. Have I ever met Sting? I've never met Sting. Never. I know a lot of people that work with him and stuff, and I've known a lot of people that say they met him and he wasn't very nice. I like him. I think he's great. I could see how he probably would be. I don't know. But you never know until you meet people. Probably, it's the circumstances that you meet somebody under, obviously, too. Um, so, do I like the Creamback Neo? I do. It sounds like a well-worn-in greenback to me. Really, really fantastic. Andrew D says you're a genius. No, I'm a knucklehead. I know a lot about a very, very, very small, specific set of things. I love your style you have developed. Thank you. I appreciate it. Still working on it. It's a work in progress. Have you tried the new Triceratops on H9? No, is there a new H9 update? I always get those things every time I'm trying to make a new preset in the H9. It says an update is available. Would you like it? I'm like, no, I'm trying to make a preset. So, yeah, yeah. Let's see. I played the DSP at NAM. It's pretty early to tell how it's going to do, says Rat. Oh, I mean, I remember playing when Boss brought their 1000, their modeler dealio to NAM. I played that a couple weeks before NAM, and I remember like the software wasn't done and stuff. It was super preliminary. It was like, part of me, to be honest, was like, is this like, are you guys sure? Like, you're gonna, it's like, doesn't seem like it's quite there yet. But of course, these big companies, they're hell bent on getting to NAM with something, and I'm sure the neural DSP thing is a little bit like that, where it was like we got to show this thing. We've put, they probably were working on it for like 2 years or something, and then it's like getting to the 6 weeks before the show, and it's like not ready, and they're like, this thing is gonna be ready, and then they just go for it. It's probably one of those deals. Every company that I know they all are going through hell, basically for the end of December and the because everything shuts down the end of December, so nobody goes back to work really until after New Year's, it seems. But like, so the week leading up to Christmas, they're all stressed because of NAM, and then like when they come back in January, they're just freaking out for the next 2 weeks because they know they got to get to the show and have all the stuff to show. Uh, that's a great question. Matthew says, "What do you look for from your guitar techs while you're on the road?" The number one thing is that they can tune well, because in every show that I do, people want to go song to song to song to song. It seems, and if you've got a tech that can't tune and they hand you a guitar, you're screwed. You put it on and you start to play, and it's and Roger, the fellow that's out with me now, is fantastic at that. He's a riot. He used to be stage manager for Iron Maiden, and he's worked with lots of different people, but he can tune great. Never had a conversation with him about it. He just did it from, and I only got to meet him the day before the first show. I was like, is this gonna be okay? Like I was a little stressed. I've tended to roll with that stuff now. Like I'm so not. I used to be really picky about techs, and now I'm just like, I'll just make her work. Like whatever, because I just got tired of being so uptight all the time, I guess. But I was a little concerned. I hadn't even met him like before the day before really, and then he ended up just. I was like, oh, thank God. He handed me a guitar and it was tuned better than I can tune it. And it's been like that. He's great. Does a great. And honestly, I'm not that. If they, he's got good soldering skills. He obviously knows what he's doing. He's a lot of techs in England. They tend to if it's an older guy and he's working for a good company of people in England, a good group of people. You hear these. They've worked for Maiden or something, and oh, you're gonna love this guy. He's a little bit. Yeah, many times they're kind of like real sweethearts, but they put on this curmudgeon kind of thing. Like where they like are grumpy, and they crack a lot of jokes, and they've kind of been there, done that kind of guys. But really, like they're really nice. That's kind of the character. A lot I find with a lot of them, and they're very capable, and they've been there and done that, and been to every venue in this country, and they know the place inside and out, and they know what to look for, and what's they good problem solvers and stuff like that. And that's so he's like that kind of guy. He's a really and he works really hard, and he's a good dude. Um, and so I'm really happy that it worked out that well. But yeah, tuning is the big one, honestly. I used a Burnley with a Marshall just fine, says James Clark. Definitely on the darker side, but totally usable. Yeah, I think I remember it sounding good with a bright cap, with a brighter amp, and being really good pedal. Like I say, I love the blue. I'm using the blue with, in plexi mode with the gain cranked and the volume on about half, trebles on about 2 o'clock, bass and mids are on noon, and I've got the bright cap switched into the PT100 clean. It has that great sort of high watt meets Marshall thing that sounds. When I hear the guitar tone in the PA for the Who songs I'm using it on, it sounds terrific. So I like it. I guess that cough is still there. Excuse me. Is there any song I would dread having to learn? Or a style that would make you not want to sign on for the gig? Um, it's, I don't know. I mean, a song I would dread having to learn might be a great challenge, because then I've been playing Eruption live every night now. I've done it like 9 gigs. I never would have played that before in front of people, you know. And then they're like, "Hey, can you do Eruption?" I was like, "I guess so. I know how to play it, but I'd never done it in front of people. It's kind of scary, you know. It's like you want to do it justice, right?" And I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to practice hard to get this down." But I'm doing it all the time now, and it's like I can kind of you just rise to the occasion. I don't know how else to say it. And you just hit the gas, and do it. Practice a lot for a month or two, and then there it is, you know. And it's good. It's like I say about when I was learning "Bat Out of Hell." I mean, how am I ever going to remember this song? But I learned it in a couple days, and then the Freebird solo, I learned it in a couple days, and then now you do it all the time, and it's great. That's what, and it's been great for me to remind myself that I can do that stuff, and it holds me wards off dementia and stuff. um. Anyways, Tone Talk says, "Hey Pete, hope all is well." Hi Mark, what's going on? Hope you're good. EBH is 65, says Ben Coombs. Yes, okay, I was right about that. I'm a little behind in the chat, and we're back up to 311 people online. Nice to have you guys here on this Sunday. Ian says, "Have you played a string theory EFX Sea of Tranquility fuzz? I just picked one up on a whim, but I've not seen much about it." I have not, man. I'm sorry. I haven't tried that one. The fuzzes I'm using on the current tour are are mini fuzz face Jimi Hendrix version from Dunlop and a Ryra Rock Your Repaired Amp Big Muff, which I play on Comfortably Numb only. And I use it on the first solo of that. And then for the rhythm parts, because we're kind of doing sort of the pulse version of that song. It's dark and brooding and fuzz all the way through. It's pretty cool. What would you suggest for an older guitarist going for part two in a music career looking to be a studio guitarist? I don't know. The first thing I thought of is probably just like it depends what you want to do, but maybe get a leg up on everybody else by becoming a really amazing reader. Because maybe you can break into, studio guitar. I don't know, man. I mean, there's not a hell of a lot out there anymore. But if you can read and you can do film sessions and things like that, it puts you in a whole nother level of, beyond that, being super creative and having your own thing, but being somewhat flexible and versatile, I guess, Make sure you can play slide, make sure you can play acoustic, fingerstyle, pick. It's like you want to be a really capable jack of all trades and also reading. I guess if you could do all that, you'd probably be in a pretty good position. How do you pan your in-ears being that you're in stereo and still have to hear James too? You know what? I'm not in stereo actually on this tour. That's from Mark. I decided I would play in mono kind of almost specifically for that reason, and also because there's another guitar player. So I don't know if he pans us that much in the PA, but we're probably panned out like 10 and 2 or something, I would imagine, except for maybe solos. He brings it center or something. I'm not sure. But I just decided that I would try and just play mono on this tour so that I'm not in stereo and taking up too much. Because I just find that when you've got keyboards and two guitars and stuff, maybe it's better you occupy your mono space. So that's been my experience anyway. Anyways, all the news about oh man, it's all on the TV now about COVID. It's really terrible. It's like friggin' helicopters, man. So sad. It's like the Stevie Ray Vaughan. I remember going to see. No, I was playing there actually. Maybe with Melissa Etheridge. I can't remember. Maybe it was Chris Cornell. But anyways, I was at the place where Stevie Ray Vaughan died, and you can see the hill that the helicopter ran into. That night in the fog. Clapton was supposed to be on that helicopter too and stuff. And it's not they described it in the news as running into a mountain. It's no mountain. It's a hill. It's like a mound. Right? It's not. I mean, you could walk there from the venue in 10 minutes. I think. Maybe it was distance. Maybe off, but it looked no more than a half a mile from the venue. And I just thought, God, those friggin' helicopters. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Good Strat Pickups, Tyler was asking. I used a few different SIR ones now, V63s as well as the V60 LPs I've used for years. V63s are like what they changed the name to from the ML Classic. So I like those a lot. Pedro says, when you use wet, dry, wet, you use the matrix for the wet, right? How did you dial the level of the effects? You know what? I didn't. I was using an H&H power amp, I think. Sorry, the last time that I was wet, dry, wet. I had this H&H V200 power amp, like a small version of the V400 MOSFET. And I think that's Up till the end of when I was doing the wet, dry, wet thing, I had that power amp. But I have a Matrix, and I would probably use it now if I was doing it. Actually supposed to have a couple Matrices. Dave Friedman took one and put it in an Offspring rig, and I never got it back from him. He owes me a Matrix. But he was like, I got to send this rig for the Offspring to South America, and you're not using that power amp. Can I get it from you, and I'll get you another one? And I was like, yeah, sure, take it. And then I never got it back. True story. But they're good power amps. Waylon Jennings was supposed to be on the helicopter that took Buddy Holly. Wasn't Buddy Holly an airplane? I think. Not a helicopter, right? It was a plane, I think. Wasn't it? Small plane with Big Bopper and all that? I think. Uh, Paul's saying, because he saw one of our gigs, just panned a little except for solos. Good mix. That's what I picked up on. Mix sounds great in the PA from what I've heard. Because he'll record the shows and then play it back for the PA the next day before sound check, and he'll be tuning the PA with last night's show. So that's generally what I've heard. I pan in my in-ears, because I guess the original question was how do I pan things in my in-ears. My guitar is a little bit left and James just a little bit right. Almost like 130 and 1130, not even 10 and 2. Just a little bit of a pan. So, yeah. Small Plane said, T-Mitz, it was the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, rest in peace. That's right. I remember now. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a small airplane. Oh boy. Tried Iridium yet? Says Paw. Yes, I did a video on it. It's on my channel. So you can hear a piece of music I created with it if you're interested. Been using the Matrix amp for a few years and really like it, says Robert. Yeah, they make great solid state, really good gear, right? Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Let's see here. Only bad thing about outdoor gigs with thousands of people getting in and out of the gig. Well, you can always sit in traffic, which is generally what we do. It's only when you hit the big time, I guess, that you get these options of doing these things that maybe you just shouldn't do, But, what speakers are in your cabinet? That's from Kenny. Out here on tour right now, I'm using a PT100 style horizontal 212, and it has creamback H's in it. In the official PT15 cabinet, it has a greenback in the top and a V30 in the bottom in a diagonal pattern. And that's what we went for in that particular cabinet. And the reason I'm using an old style PT100 212 out here is because we have one in England. The Sir rep over here has one cased in a road case ready to go, and he had a PT15 in a case that's actually my case. So it was just easiest to go that route. And it's the cabinet it's a great sounding cabinet. Anyway, the PT100 cab is really cool, but it's not the one that was designed for the amp. That's all. But it sounds great and it works well. And it's just my onstage monitor anyway, because in the PA is the IRs, so there's no mic on the cabinet. Kurt LeBlanc says Peach Guitars did really good videos of Sir stuff at NAMM. Andy Wood one was really cool. That's cool. I haven't checked him out. The Peach people make nice videos for sure. How you hanging with the tour, says JG. Looks like you will be home late February. That's correct. Yeah, I'm having a good time. Everything's awesome. Like the Vox emulation on the Iridium, says Paw. I do. That's actually my favorite. The Fender and the Vox were my favorite. What do you value more early on, better studio monitors or better acoustic treatment and cheaper monitors? Great question. I would probably go with better monitors first, and then the treatment second, but it's a tough one. Good show, says Deshaun up in the top chat. He says, what are good replacement pickups for an Epi Lucille for rock and alt rock? Definitely Thornbuckers. You got to get those. Yeah, no question. Most people that put Thornbuckers in 335s are like, well, holy shit, this sounds great. So go for it in that. I think you'll be really happy. It'll open up the tone and sound really nice, I think. Have I played on the new Sir Ombre? No. I was mentioning on the last show that John had finished it when I got there the last time. When I was out there the last time, it was done. And I'm like, let me hear it. And he's like, no, 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 no. Because there's this superstition with amp guys about turning on an amp for the first time when it's first made. So he's like, no, 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 no. I'll turn it on Monday. This was on a Friday, I think I was out there. And he didn't want to, power it up yet and stuff. Just in case something blows up or something, you know what I mean? He's got to check all the voltages and all this stuff. I mean, I don't know. So he didn't want to turn it on. So I still haven't heard it. But he says it sounds awesome. And, I'm sure it was fine the first time he powered it up. But I remember that when we did that with the PT-15 too, it was the same thing. He was worried about it the first time. It's always like a thing. Oh, you never know. He created this Frankenstein. uh, how many hours a day would you recommend an aspiring professional musician to practice? Says Kurt. 10,000. And then you'll have it all learned in one day. 10,000 hours, that whole rule. No, I don't know. It's not the same for everybody. I was never like a massive practicer. I wasn't one of the like 12 hours a day guys or something. I didn't really do that, but I would put in a couple each day consistently and try to, and should have practiced more, I guess it'd be better. But I honestly, it's different for everybody. So it really depends how fast you retain things and stuff. This chair I'm sitting in is like making my legs fall asleep. It's got a sag to it. That's brutal. First world problems. What else we got here? Let's see. Saw a few videos that are being posted from the Classic Rock Show sounding good. Yeah, there's a few videos out there for sure. We've had some fun. Jesse Smith's vocals, says the Hoppo, last night were pretty amazing. What a set of pipes on that guy. Yeah, he's a sweet dude too. He's very talented. Looks like Robert Plant, doesn't he? And he's got skills. He's got singing skills. All the singers are really good. Jess is really good. She nails doing some Fleetwood Mac and stuff. And everybody's pretty slamming, I think. So honestly, Rudy's great too. And it's just a lot of fun. It's a really, really good band. Really, really good band. Okay, I'm going to go down to the bottom of the chat. 317 online. Nice to have you folks here. Thanks for joining. Pete, how quickly did it take you to make the decision from becoming an original artist to becoming a hired gun? It was very gradual. I mean, it wasn't like a thing, like I did both for a long time. So, in other words, like, I started out in the late mid 90s. I was in an original band and got a record deal, got signed, made some money and all that. And then that sort of, ended. And I was like, what am I going to do now? And then I started looking around for things to do. I didn't know what to do. But that whole time I was playing in cover bands and stuff and doing cover gigs and duo gigs and all that kind of stuff. And then I started getting in the LA kind of like circuit of both doing auditions for original bands and auditions as hired gun guy. Because there was people in LA that would be kind of headhunter people that would, help you find bands and be like, they might get a call from somebody that's like, hey, we're an original band looking for a guitar player. Or they might get a call from somebody saying, well, we got this solo artist going on the road and they need to hire hired guns for a tour. Both types of calls. And I got both types of gigs. So, for example, I joined a band called The Shore for a while that was on Maverick Records. And I did that for maybe a year on and off and stuff. And a great band, never really went anywhere, but they were before their time. Had they come out 10 years later, I think they would have done really, really well. Kind of sounded like the Verve or something. Really terrific singer, songwriter. But anyway, so I did that. And then I joined another band called 40 Foot Echo. That was a band thing, kind of with a leader. But, it was a band. And just before 40 Foot Echo, I got, the Adam Cohen gig, Leonard Cohen's son. I went on tour with him. That was a sideman gig. I was in another signed band called Snapdragon on a subsidiary of Atlantic Records for a while. That was. Am I online? Am I online? I'm not sure. Uh, you guys see me there? Anybody? 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 No chat's coming through. I wonder if it's going to do that thing where it's not going to work again and I'm not going to see the new messages coming in. I think I'm online, but if Robert Baker's still watching, text me, buddy, and tell me if I'm still there. I think it might have kicked me off kind of for good this time. I don't know. Anyways, sorry for the crap internet. I feel like I got gypped paying for it too. But maybe I'll just finish up because I think it's working, but I'm not seeing any new messages come in. So maybe I'll just finish up by answering some of these last comments that came through, and then I'll bail, and I'll just assume that hopefully I'm online. I don't know if I am or not. 5:45, 5:50. It seems like the counter's going. I could be talking to no one right now. I'm just not sure. But anyways, the last question was how long did it take you to make that decision? And really, it became about an age thing, about getting older and deciding that when I got into my into my mid 30s, it was like, do I really want to try and keep doing the band thing more and more and more and more, and like do I want to keep going out with a band and playing uh, making almost no money and stuff. Even if the band had a label deal, it'd be like, very low dough and stuff like that. And or do I want to try and get better and better sideman gigs and where I can really earn some money? And that was just kind of the way that it went through my 30s, I guess. So it was kind of how it went. But anyways, I'll answer a couple more questions here, and then I guess I'll split because I'm just not sure if it's working or not. Let's see. Phil says, yes, the band are so good. Thanks, man. Glad you enjoyed the show. You came out too. Hey, Pete, how you doing? Since 1 year, I'm looking for a really good distortion pedal. Which one is the best in your opinion? Impossible to say. So many good distortions and overdrives out there in the market. What's best? But yeah, there's the ones that come to mind off the top of my head are the BEOD and the Sir Riot and the Revival Drive, which is an amazing kind of plexi style pedal. And the small version of the Plexitone is still a great pedal, especially into a neutral sounding clean amp. I really like the Bogner pedals too, the blue and the red, both the big ones and the little ones. So there's a few for you. The Little Brute Drive, that's another nice one. Do I have problems with wireless systems? This was the last comment that came through from Mr. Black. Do I have problems with wireless systems when I'm using active pickups? No, it'll just be like a buffer. I mean, if it's a real hot pickup in your guitar, you can clip what's it called? Transmitter. Because it's going to have an ADD converter in it. So but they make them generally speaking to handle most guitars. So generally speaking, it's just kind of like putting one buffered pedal after another because you're going to have a low impedance signal, from your active pickups feeding that low impedance out of the. It's fine, shouldn't have any problems. But you never say never. It could be a situation where it just doesn't work. But anyways, here's a joke, a bass joke. Fender Bender says, "How do you know that there is a bass guitarist at the door? He never knows when to come in." Pretty good. I like it. Tom says, "Smash that like button." I appreciate that, Tom. Hopefully you guys are still watching me. I don't know. It's at 59 minutes right now, so I think I'm just going to split anyway because I'm just not sure this is even working, and I can't get any more of the chat going. The flow of the comments has stopped. It knocks me offline. It's just bullshit. I should ask for my money back for my supposed ultimate internet or whatever they call it. So silly. Anyways, did I see the Blue Guitar Amp X? I've heard about it, but no, I haven't seen it. I did see it, just like everybody, NAMM kind of release. Let's see. Stratfan says he has Thornbuckers in his Les Paul and want to put some in my Schecter Corsair 335 type, but putting pickups in a 335 is scary because of the lack of a backplate. Yeah, you got to have somebody do it that kind of knows what they're doing, generally speaking. It's tough, definitely. It's a job to change pickups in a 335, but any good tech can do it. I shouldn't say any, I guess, but as any good tech will be able to do it. Pete's still using your Ryra clone. I'm using the Ryra Fuzz right now out on tour, but I'm not using the clone, no. Using a Archer, Rocket Archer. Maybe you answered this already and I missed it. Have you seen the new Redwire's Mix IR3? I have not. I didn't know they had that out. So you guys teach me things all the time. I'm gonna have to try that. I'm sure it's good. I love and still use the original, the IR2. And it's a really good IR loader for your DAW. Hey Pete, how you doing? Since 1 year, looking for a really good. Oh, that I already answered that one. How do you smile on stage when you don't really want to? Says Levi. I'm bad at that. You don't have to. Richie Blackmore wouldn't have. Let's see here. How's the UK treating me? Says Gary. Pretty darn good, thanks. How did the Thornbuckers change the sound of your 335? Harley was asking Gary. Maybe he answered that in the comments that I can't see anymore. I can see them up to a point where it knocked me offline a few minutes ago, and then that's it. Okay. Epiphone discontinued the BB King Lucille. Did not know that. They should keep that there. Good old BB. They should have kept it in their line. Gary says he put Thornbuckers in his 335 and the guitar now has a new life. That's awesome. I'm glad you're happy. Have I tried Bias Amp 2? With my own IR is the best software amp I've tried. I'm an amp guy, but this has my attention. I like the... I think I have. I think that's the version of Bias I've tried, which is pretty good. And the IR makes all the difference in the world. Put a good IR in with most amp modelers, they're going to sound like, oh, that's a tone I really like. If it's an IR that you've been accustomed to using, it's a Marshall style sim from whoever, it's going to sound somewhere, generally speaking, with that overall filter curve the IR gives you in the ballpark of what you're used to. That's what I find anyway. All right, you guys, I'm going to split just because I can't actually take any more questions toward the end. And hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'm really sorry to hear about Kobe and the terrible what happened. It's just awful, man. I mean, but anyways, what do you say? Rest in peace. And that's what a devastating thing. I think I don't know, but it sounded like his daughters are maybe on the flight as well, and possibly I guess it was his private helicopter. It says on the news, and survived by his wife. I think. Well, it's what a terrible. I don't know, what do you say? Anyways, everybody, you guys, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you most likely same time, same place next week, unless I have a gig next Sunday. I'm just not sure. I think I might actually, which might mean that maybe I do one of these things in the dressing room, like the hour before my gig or something. Maybe I got to do it an hour earlier. Normally I would go 7 to, in England time till whenever, but the gigs are generally 7:30 or 8. So we'll see. Might just have to change the time a little bit up. Maybe do it a little bit earlier in the morning next Sunday, LA time. Okay, everybody, take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.